Be ready. 10 seconds to go. Start. I have repeatedly been impressed during my visits to the Soviet Russia and to the United States by the many things they have in common. I am thinking more about the people than about politics. The people in both countries are in some ways remarkably similar to each other. They are frank and hospitable and are exceedingly friendly. Essentially, I am thinking of one common feature today in the Soviet Russia and in America, namely the concentration of technological and scientific development as a means to progress. The Russians, in spite of their political differences, are full of admiration for the technological civilization which the United States has built up. They want to do even better. Theirs is a competitive approach. It is because of this, I think, that once they get over the present day political difficulties, the people of the Soviet Russia and the United States are likely to come much nearer to each other than possibly other countries might. America, by and large, is a welfare state. There may be odd things here and there which do not fit in with this concept, but it is a welfare state. You have solved your problems of providing the primary necessities of life to the people. We in India have not. Our problems in India are fundamentally concerned with the primary necessities of life. In that sense, our problems are different from yours. Therefore, the pure American approach does not often fit in because you think in terms of an affluent society. For example, you may think in terms of highly mechanized agriculture, but it may not suit India. Not that we are against mechanization, but it may not fit in with the conditions in India. In the Soviet Russia, there has certainly been a very marked and progressive change from the rigid authoritarianism of Stalin's time. We must remember that in the Soviet Russia, at any rate, in the greater part of it, they never had anything but some kind of authoritarian government, whether it was the Caesar's government or any other government. From that, they went on to a communist regime, which has brought them some advantages, undoubtedly, but at the cost of individual liberty. They do not feel the lack of it very much. But ultimately, everyone feels the lack of individual liberty and lack of individual freedom. Every revolution after a certain period turns down. After the French Revolution and the days of terror, the French people toned down and became a very conservative and respectable people. Surprisingly, the process has taken a longer time in the case of the Soviet Russia, but the process is there. Possibly, the period has lengthened because of many factors, including the wars. I once asked a Russian leader who had said something rather nasty about the British people as to why he did so. He had previously told me that he wanted to be friends with America and with England. He had said, "You are friendly with both. Help us to be that." I said that I cannot do much, but I will certainly help to the best of my ability. He repeated what he said. Some 2 weeks later, he was traveling about in India and he came back from Burma. In Burma, in answer to a British correspondent who had put some kind of a leading question to him, he had lost his temper and said something nasty about the British people. So I put it to him that you say that you want to be friendly with America and England and want me to help, and yet you say things which must infuriate every Englishman. Surely that is not the way to help that process which you desire. He said that yes. Do you realize that for 30 years or so, whatever the period, we have lived in Russia in a state of siege? We have lived in a state of siege with our enemies surrounding us and trying to put an end to us, crush us. We have fought and survived, and we have developed ourselves. But this state of siege has conditioned us. We are suspicious of everybody, especially of these people who have participated in this siege, and if they do anything which we do not like, we retaliate immediately. The reaction is there without even thinking. So, you see the result of past conditioning. It is very powerful factor in every nation. Yet you see one gets over it. Take the last war. How did people in America or in England or in many other countries feel about Hitler's Germany and about the Nazis. They felt very angry, no doubt. But today they are friends with the German people, and rightly so. You have got over that. How did you Americans feel about Japan during the war? You were very bitter, and yet you are relatively friendly today. It is extraordinary how these changes can take place and feel friendly towards each other. Stop.